Stocks are very mixed today with one significant outlier, Meta. Meta's just screaming forward. I took a look at the charts. I'm going to share with you guys a few things that I think are important for you to be looking at. Meta's basically incredibly overbought, but it still looks like it's going to move up to me. Like we could easily hit the 300 to 304 area very quickly and even go as high as 323. Now, I'm going to call that 323 level, I'm going to call that the hog level greed. I predicted the very last time that I covered Meta that if we got a break above 252, that was a long time historic resistance level, that if we got a break above that, that it would open up this higher range and that we would at minimum hit 278 bucks. After we made our way up to 278, it got pretty volatile for a while. It consolidated at that level and it's shot up ever since. Now, I see long-term support for those who are in Meta at $284, but I want you guys to look at the MACD and the RSI with your own eyes so that you're aware of the fact that this is super hot, heated up, overbought, unusually overbought. If you go back in time and you look at the big picture, you realize that Meta has not been this overbought in a long time. But even at this stage, here's what I want you guys to understand. Even as Meta begins to cool off from this peak that it's getting, the stock price continues to climb during that cool off phase. So even though it's up there in the stratosphere, just the amount of days that it would take to cool off can allow this stock to continue to climb upwards from here. If we go over to crypto real quick and we look at what's going on there, I want to address something real quick. The rumor over the weekend that Gary Gensler has resigned. This is entirely untrue, unfounded. There's no validity to it whatsoever. Matter of fact, this rumor had been generated and created by AI, an AI deep fake news story, entirely made up. The whole thing could have been done just for the sake of entertainment, personal deviant pleasure by whoever threw the news story out there, or in an attempt to possibly give Bitcoin and the crypto market a little bit of a boost to push higher. A lot of people are expecting Bitcoin to make that push up, but it's in that zone of indecision, and so it could pull back just as easily as it could push higher. I showed you guys the last time we covered Bitcoin that we were right between two fib levels, and we're right beneath the next fib level up, which is largely above 31,000. So if we can get up above that level with some volume, then it opens up the 31,000 to 37,000. Right now, we have yet to get pushed up. So maybe somebody was trying to motivate a push up, motivate the retail buyer. I wouldn't say that it really worked. We're still moving sideways on Bitcoin today. Now, the number one question that I'm getting right now is on the altcoins. There's a ton of focus on Bitcoin, but a lot of you guys don't even trade Bitcoin or Ethereum. All your money's tied up in the alts, and you're wanting to know, Josh, when are those going to pop? They're not going to pop right now. I think they could drift higher. We've seen them come off their lows from the announcement of the SEC calling a number of them securities. We saw them hit a low, and we saw some exchanges say they were going to pull them to be under the regulation of the SEC. But since then, they've been slowly climbing, but we are not in alt season. Right now, Bitcoin is in a moment where it's beginning to show dominance. And really, if Bitcoin is in a stage of ramping up, you're not going to see the alts run quickly. You're going to see them run after Bitcoin peaks and begins to cool off. That's how that normally works. And so what we've got for the alt season, which is projects like ADA, Solana, and Matic, is we have what's the opportunity to accumulate at this reduced price. Does that mean that we won't go any lower? No, we're going to fluctuate in this zone, but we're largely going to move sideways with the potential of a drift up, and there will come an alt season, but that's going to be after Bitcoin dominance has reached a peak and slowed down, and that has not been determined yet because it looks like Bitcoin is trying to figure that out. And in regards to Gary Gensler, I don't think that he is a loved and beloved character by anybody, but what I would call him is a necessary cat's paw for the people that are in charge. So what exactly is a cat's paw? Well, a cat's paw is a term that's used to refer to someone who does your dirty work or the unpleasant work that is then later expendable, right? A cat's paw is often put between someone who's in power and someone else to do something that they want done, but they don't want that heat to come back to them. Gary Gensler is a classic cat's paw, and right now he's still relevant because there's things that are still coming into alignment, and at the point that they want to when they want to cause Bitcoin and the cryptos to fire up after they've gotten everything positioned, then what they'll do is they will cut him loose. He'll become the scapegoat, and that will then cause all of the retail buyers to get motivated and feel like everything's safe. The bad guy's been gotten rid of. Now you can come on board, but he'll just be a scapegoat. The smart money will have loaded their bags. Those prices will be off to the races. But you know, on this show, on Stocks with Josh, we try to be smarter than that. We're trying to fill our bags now in the environment of uncertainty, looking at the charts from a long-term perspective on quality crypto projects that are led by quality developers. And those are the type of companies that I'm invested in. Those are the kind of ones I talk to you guys about. Matic, for example, is doing great. Matic is doing better than they ever have done before. There's no justification for their price to be down on the floor other than there's the movement of money and liquidity. And so right now is a buying opportunity for Polygon Matic and ADA. I feel the same way about that. I'm bringing down my dollar cost averaging my long-term ADA right now. I had paused buying that when it was up at 44 cents and I was in my swing ADA. Right now I'm back to dollar cost averaging in my long-term ADA. But I will just say this real quick about the crypto market from a technical perspective. If you look at the chart, you look at the monthly chart of Bitcoin, we see that June was a bullish engulfing candle for the month of May, which is a good sign or signal to tell us what the month of July might be like. At bare minimum, we're looking at trying to test and push higher. Not sure exactly where it'll rest. Could push up to 34, 35, come back and find support at 31. But right now, I'm leaning bullish on Bitcoin. And unfortunately, we're going to be stuck with Gary Gensler for a little bit longer until his time has come. I don't think his time is up yet. On the alts, it's time to buy. It's time to accumulate for a later day reward. All right, let me just jump into Tesla real quick. I'm going to make my technicals on it super simple. Even though these technicals are going to be presented in a simple way, they're ones that I've given a great deal of thought about. So here we go. I think that the real support moving forward on Tesla is going to be at the 261 mark. Okay, so strong support at 261. And if it broke through that level, then the next level of support beneath that Tesla would fall to would be 245. Now above us, we have 287 that's strong resistance. And if we were to go up above and close above 287 with volume, then we would have a confirmation that we were going to go as high as 320. We do not have a confirmation of a pullback. We do not have a confirmation that we're going up above 300 just yet. So that's probably the best advice on Tesla I can give you guys today is stay closer to the moment that we're in and don't try to look too far ahead. This is where we're at. We're between that 261 and that 287. So now it's hard to guess what it'll do next, but I'm leaning towards it making a full attempt to 287, which I'm calling the top of the range, where I would see it potentially get rejected and then begin to move into a descending channel moving forward all the way down to 261 where it would find support. That's what I'm leaning towards believing what Tesla will do in the days moving forward. Guys, if you need better trade tools, check out the current offer from the moomoo investment app. They're giving away free stock. I use this app every single day. I particularly love their news. I love their stock screener, and I use their earnings calendar, especially when we get into earnings season. I'm all over that thing every single day. Best part of moomoo, though, is my chat group that I host on that. It's called Stock Josh Fam. Once you get in there, you get your free stock. You can click on the link to get all the details of their current offer. We have a great dialogue going on over there as well. All right, let me quickly cover NEO. I'm hearing a lot of talk about NEO right now, and I think that largely the charts have been showing signs of bullishness, and it's caused a big conversation in my chat group as to where it would be going next. As you guys know, I said if it gets above $9.50, it's bullish. Beneath $9.50, it's bearish. I've tried to keep it very simple when talking about these charts. I think if we look at the Gaussian channel, it's very possible that on the weekly time frame that we are at least potentially going to go up and touch that channel before potentially getting some sell pressure. So a touch of the channel would put us around $11.50. I called this move back when it was $8, and I pointed to the fact that the charts were leaning bullish and that we would get to $9 and $9.50. And then from there, once we closed above it, I came out on the weekend and I told you guys that we had a strong shot of pushing up to touch the 200-day moving average. So at this point, I think what NEO is trying to do is it's trying to touch or reach or determine the top of the trade range, which at the moment I'm going to call $11.50. So we've got to watch and see what it does. Once we get to $11.50, then you have to watch and see how it interacts with that price level, if it sits and consolidates there, or if it drops hard at that point. That would tell you that we're just testing the top of the range and we're going to go back and make a new low. That's how I would read that. As I said in a recent video, Tesla's been doing well, so NIO is probably not doing too bad right now, and so I think Wall Street is giving them the benefit of the doubt, which is kind of reasonable. They're beginning to close short positions to be prepared for any surprise positive news. So the local upward trend is not over, $11.50 to $12. You can easily put your stop loss in at $9.40, which to me would determine if we got to close beneath that, it would be bearish. Remember, I'm not in this trade. I'm trading other things. I prefer Tesla myself. I'm doing these technicals for you guys. Good luck. All right, let's briefly cover PSNY, Polestar Automotive. These guys are an EV automaker that's owned by Volvo. What Volvo did with Polestar, in my view, makes sense. Rather than start from the ground up like some other legacy automakers, Volvo has this partnership. So you basically get innovation in one group with fiscal management out of another. Their headquarters are in Sweden and their cars are produced in China. Now, I was asked about this recently, so I took some time to look at the charts and review the fundamentals, and I thought I would give you guys my view on it. The trade volume is up, which is bullish. The market cap is $8 billion, which I personally think is way expensive for this type of company, but I know that a lot of people will justify that. I like the chart for a small move up, and here's a breakdown of the technicals. What you're looking for is a break above the $4.12 range. What has formed in the charts there is essentially a triple top. Triple tops can be bullish or bearish, largely bearish if it fails to break through a triple top. It means that you're going to go much lower, but if you do get that break above, then it can become very, very bullish, as that triple top can then serve as support moving forward, and then the $4 range becomes strong support level, whereas it's been largely strong resistance. If you get above that $4.12 range, I think you're going to get a strong push up eventually to $5. Now, if it's not ready to go up, I think it's going to simply come back and retest and bounce the $3.60 range. And then it probably would make another attempt. If it failed at $3.60, then you would know that it's probably just in trouble and it's not going to do well. So again, you could justify putting a stop loss somewhere around $3.40 if you were to choose to get in at $3.60 for the bounce. Here's what I need to warn you guys regarding companies like NIO and Polestar, is that there's a ton of bag holders at every level moving higher. A lot of people got into this and they've held and they've bought the dip for a long time, which simply means that when these run up, there's not a lot of room for them just to shoot through those price points. There's gonna be a ton of people at each and every dollar up who purchased and are waiting for it to come and get to their price, and that whole level is going to have to sell off before it can go up to the next level. That's typically why these take a long time to recover. So quick commentary on the overall markets. There is not a tipping point in the market that I see right now. I see a lot of stocks that are currently set up to go higher right now, and a lot of these smaller cap stocks are slowly beginning to move up. Now, the day, as I said at the beginning, is an extremely mixed day. So there's definitely a tug-in-war between the bulls and the bears. But what I don't see is strong dominance on either party. I don't see the bears. I don't see massive selling, high volume red days, capitulation to the downside, which tells me this: the market's not ready to go down. The market's not thinking of going down right now. We have entered into a bull market, and we're gonna push and push and push and push to the top. And here's what I think is really happening. The bears are just getting absolutely brutalized, and there's still too many bears in the market. It's not until every single bear taps out or cries uncle and then turns around and loads up and joins the bulls that this market is going to say enough is enough. It's time to take profits in a big way. The data doesn't support taking profits. The Fed is hawkish. Inflation has seemed to come under a little bit of control. I don't think the market's particularly afraid of the Fed. I think the market believes that interest rate is where the Fed largely needs it. There could be a little bit of adjustment here and there. But at this moment, the market is assuming that the economy is relatively strong. And as long as inflation doesn't totally blow up and get out of control, it's going to continue to move higher, because they largely believe that the Fed, even though he may not be cutting rates, he's mostly done everything he's going to do, and he's going to begin to let those interest rate hikes work for the time being. And so if there's opportunity move up, it will go up. And then, of course, you've got the benefit of the doubt that's being given to AI and the opportunity there for all of these companies to retool everything they do and to cause it to become even stronger and smarter and more efficient through AI. AI improvements could radically increase profit margins if used correctly. And so the market's going to let these companies show us the path to integration and profit saving and revenue increase. And I think that's going to be a journey that's going to be discussed and looked at all throughout the rest of this year. And then, of course, we've got the Apple indicator. The push up has paused. I reached my goal of 195, and now it's taking a little bit of a pause, but nothing that would look like a sell-off. And so I'll be watching those technical levels for you guys. I'll let you know if I think anything has changed. Let me know in the comments if you trade any of these particular companies, if you guys have been taking profit or if you're holding long, what your strategy is. I'd love to hear it. On the note of the video that I did yesterday, I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed reading through all of your guys' stories in response to me sharing some of my personal story and my family's heritage in coming to the United States. I loved hearing your guys' stories. Thank you so much for taking the time to respond. I considered that very, very special, so thank you for that. Thanks again for all the likes. Thanks for all the new subscribers. As always, peace and blessings, my friends. Have a great day.